Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here. Chris from New York, Westchester County. I thank you for viewing. I thank you for subbing. Thank you for commenting and just inviting me in your lives. I appreciate it, guys. I was just answering some comments. And I noticed a video I made over the weekend. I kind of got distracted. I was thinking about something else. I didn't quite finish what I wanted to say. When I asked you to go back to the 60s, to a time of Woodstock, 1969. That was a music festival. You know, kids, adults of all types of people, I guess, went there. And they had a movement of their own. They had an area that, look at this chemtrails, jeez. They had an area that they had rented and ready to go. They had over 500,000 people that went to it. I think the final number was, I don't know, something like 650,000, not millions, 1,000 people went to it. That's quite a crowd, you know. Now, the reason why I wanted you to do that is I wanted you to compare to what we're all doing here, just by you watching my videos. You know, we're starting something of our own. Yeah, sure, now we have just pockets all over the place, you know, but it's just a matter of time till those pockets become highways, you know. We all come together. I mean, could you imagine 1 million of us in a place banging on doors? You know how much that could do. You know, that was just a concert that people took drugs on. Little did they know, the next movement would be the flat earth. You know, that would be the next big one. And it's coming. 1 million of us saying we've had it. We're sick of NASA. We're sick of the politicians. We're sick of the billionaires telling us what to do. We're sick of the lies and the terrorism and the fake news and all the bullshit that's out there that you've had enough of. You know? We're tired of it, you know, and that's what the 1 million people of us would do. Change the world. Everything would change. Every single thing would change. Everything would have to close and reopen. See, now I'm going into a different area, but I just wanted to point that out, okay? Very quickly, I don't have much time. I want to just get into the sun, moon, and the stars. A possible different alternative of the way you can look at flat Earth. I'm not sitting here with a sign, you know, or a model or anything like that, shoving it in your face. You know, I'm not telling you anything. These are just ideas that could very well be true. Or maybe not. I don't know. You know, it busts the model that everybody's been looking at, though. It completely falls apart on so many different levels. It's incredible. But that's a model that people believe, and that's a model that, you know, you've been fed. Here's a model that might open your eyes, and that would be of a simulation. Mostly, you know, the sun and the moon are, I don't believe, are physical objects, and I've said this 100 times, up there. I believe there's another explanation for that. And I want you to think about this idea. A while back, somebody sent me a comment, got me thinking about something. Picture yourself at a lake, you know, your friend's standing on one area and you're standing on another. Not too far away from each other, maybe 20 feet or something like that. When you look down and you see the reflection of the moon, or even the sun, well, you can't really focus in on the sun, but the moon's better, maybe the daytime moon. You're looking at it at even though you're standing close to each other, you're still seeing the moon differently from one another. Okay, if that makes you think about what I'm about to explain to you, of why you and me and others see the sun, even though we're looking at it the same time during the day, we see it differently, at a totally different perspective. You're seeing it in the morning, I'm seeing it in the afternoon, he's seeing it at night, you know? And that's where a simulation could quite possibly be a plausible explanation of that. Some people believe in multiple suns, and that's hard to wrap your head around, at first. But if you think about it, a simulation would be the only way that would be possible. I don't know if there's a globe up there. I have no idea. But if there is a simulation up there, it's got to be in an area that we can't get to physically. We all know the ISS isn't up there. That's bullshit. You know that. And there's an area up there that we just can't get to. If there is a dome, maybe it's all the way up at the tip of the dome. If there isn't a dome, maybe it's just a whole computer simulation up there that's maybe enclosing us in here. And that's what's creating what you're seeing. I don't even believe the sun's 73 miles away. People think that. I think it's a hell of a lot closer than you think, I haven't been able to make out the clouds behind the sun. There's different things that I have come up with ideas for that answer, which I don't want to get into right now, but I wanted you to take a look, just think about the simulation that I gave you, the example that I gave you on the pond with a friend, and the example of me being here and you looking up there at the same exact time that I'm looking at the sun, and you're looking at it in a totally different way than I'm looking at it. And it's almost like you have your own simulation. How many people look up at the sky? Who's indoctrinated? Nobody. They never look up at the sky. I mean, if they looked up at the sky, they would see this. This is what they would see, and they would question to themselves, those clouds don't look like they did when I was a kid. That's what they would see. They would see chemtrails, which they don't have the answer to. But they don't look up at all. I'd like to do this experiment with somebody across the country. Somebody reached out to me, and I'm going to be trying to do it with him. I want to do a simulcast of the sun. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. It's going to take a little while for me to, get in touch with him and put together a video, a live video. Because, we're all 3 hours, well, I'm 3 hours ahead of California. I think he's in California. I'm not 100% sure, but he's either 2 hours or 3 hours ahead of me. Behind me. So it's difficult to coordinate it. We all work. We all have different work hours. But that's what I would like to show on a video. Someone will probably steal this idea, and that's all right. You know what? It's not stealing. It's not costing any money. It's just all about us being educated about what is around us. That doesn't seem like anything that anybody has told you is true. Especially when they're preaching models that nobody knows what the hell the model is. I don't know if there's an ice wall that's covering us. One thing I did want to bring up, I was listening to Mark Sargent's show last night. I could only listen to like 40 minutes of it. And, he's just reading out Q&As now at this point. Antarctica is just a thing that's been fed to us. To get to the ice wall, if we're surrounded by the ice wall, which could be possible, we can just go from whatever angle and we'll get to the dome if there is a dome, or the simulation. Admiral Byrd was down there for 40 years, or 30 years, I think, on and off. I don't know what he found down there. We don't know. We don't know what, did he cross over the plane? I have no idea. We don't know these answers, Nobody knows these answers. But this is an idea for you to think about with the simulation. Now, there's many layers of this simulation that I'll be getting into, but the first chapter I wanted to get into is the sun and the moon. I want to introduce you to that. And as I say with the sun, it's the same thing for the moon too. Even when people are seeing it upside down, that's a later video. I just wanted to bring this one thing up, and I wanted you to take a look at this model. Think about this model for a minute, and let me know what your thoughts are on it. One other thing I wanted to bring up with the sun is, sure, it's circular perfectly. It's a perfect disc. Let me put it to you that way. But it's not three-dimensional. You know what I'm saying? You can only look up at it for a second. And when you do, it's just this big reflective face that's so bright, just for quick quarter of a, second, it leaves this ghost image in your eye for like 5 or 10 minutes. But when you see that as quickly as you do, it does look flat. It does not look like a 3D model. Like if you were to look at a basketball, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm getting on that? It just doesn't look like it. It just looks flat as a pancake, like a plate. Okay, all right. I think I've said it like maybe nearly a quarter of what I wanted to say, but all right. I thank you again for viewing.